Genes contribute to less than 3% of your body weight, yet millions of people blame their genes for why they can't lose weight. I am Dr. Lucia Aronica, lecturer in epigenetics and nutrigenomics at Stanford University. Today, I'll show you how you can rewrite your genetic destiny and the research that backs this up. I'll break down 3 powerful insights that will transform the way you think about genes and weight loss forever. First, I'll show you why your genes aren't the weight loss barrier you think they are, and what's actually controlling your results. You learn why those expensive DNA diet plans may be focusing on the wrong things. Second, you'll discover what's more powerful than genetics, something called epigenetic memory. You learn how this memory can explain why some people regain weight after dieting, the dreaded yo-yo effect, and how our research shows we can break this cycle. And third, I'll teach you how you can rewrite your genetic story through simple, sustainable changes that work better than any DNA diet. You learn about the pleasure principle, why finding joy in the process is more powerful than any quick fix, and how this approach can help you transform your health without feeling deprived. If you've ever blamed your genes for struggling with weight gain or considered taking a DNA diet test, stay with me until the end. What you learn might surprise you. Before we dive in, let me explain what a DNA diet is. It's pretty simple. You take a genetic test and based on your genes, those companies tell you which diet will work best for you. For example, they might tell you you are going to lose more weight on a low-carb than a low-fat diet. The idea is appealing, right? Instead of trying every diet out there, you get a personalized plan based on your unique genetic code. That's why DNA diets have become so popular. And it makes sense. Genes can influence how our bodies process certain nutrients. But here's what those tests don't tell you. Beyond genetics, other factors play a much bigger role in personalizing your diet, like your blood markers, activity level, and goals. Are you trying to lose weight, improve body composition, enhance performance? Those factors matter more than your genes. At Stanford, we conducted the largest randomized clinical trial ever undertaken to compare a low-carb and a low-fat diet for weight loss. We looked specifically at 3 of the most common genes that those DNA diet companies use to predict whether someone is going to lose more weight on a low-carb or low-fat diet. Want to know what we found? Those genes failed to deliver on their promise. They couldn't reliably predict who was going to lose more weight on which diet. And this isn't just about those 3 genes. The whole story of how your genes interact with food is much more interesting and actually gives you more control than you might think. Let me explain you why. You might think your genes control everything about your weight. After all, we often hear people say, obesity runs in my family, or I have bad genes for losing weight. And it's true that genes can influence your body weight. But here's what most people don't know. Your genes contribute to less than 3% of your body weight. The rest is largely influenced by your environment, your diet, exercise, lifestyle, and how these factors interact with each other and with your genes. Think about it. If genes were destiny, how do you explain that obesity rates have tripled over the last 50 years? Your genes haven't changed during that time. What's changed is our lifestyle and our environment. That's actually great news. It means even if you carry genes that might predispose you to gain weight, you have far more control over your body weight than you might think. The science of nutrigenomics shows that it's not just about what your genes do to your nutrition. It's about what your nutrition does to your genes. That's why those DNA diets often fail. They focus on a tiny piece of a much bigger picture called nutrigenomics. They focus on just one part, nutrigenetics, how your genes affect nutrition. But they are missing something way more powerful called epigenetics, how your nutrition affects your genes. To understand how you can influence your body weight beyond your blueprint, let me explain how your DNA actually works. Think of your DNA like the hardware of a computer. Epigenetics is the software that tells your cells which programs or genes to run. The word epi means on the top. Epigenetic modifications or marks are molecular switches that sit atop your genes and can turn them on or off, up or down, just like a dimmer switch can modulate the brightness of a light. But here's what's fascinating. While your DNA, the hardware, stays the same, your epigenetic software can be updated based on your daily lifestyle choices. Things like what you eat, how you move, and even how you handle stress can write or erase epigenetic marks on your genes, like editors revising a text. And here's the cool part. The marks written before you were born are usually permanent, like they're written with a pen. But those written during your adult life, those are more like pencil marks and can be erased and rewritten. That's why you have more control over your genes than you might think. Although you can't change your genes, you can influence how they behave by updating your epigenetic software. You are not just a passive reader of your genetic code. You are an active writer of your health story. And nowhere is this more evident than with weight loss. Let me show you exactly what happens to your genes when you gain weight. It's like your cells running a software update, but not the kind you want. When your weight is stable and healthy, your body weight genes work together like a team. Some genes help you burn fat and maintain healthy mitochondria, the powerhouses of your cells, where fat actually gets burned. Other genes help you reduce inflammation, and others specifically protect you from diabetes by keeping your blood sugar in check. But when you gain weight, this teamwork gets disrupted. Your cells begin writing new software instructions. It's like a problematic software update that changes all your settings at once. The genes that help you burn fat get turned off, while those that promote inflammation, like for example TNF-alpha and IL-6, get turned on. And we are not talking about the helpful kind of inflammation that fights infections. This is more like a low-grade chronic fire inside your body. It's invisible, but it's affecting your health from the inside out. Even more concerning, the genes that protect you from diabetes get silenced. And this happens years before you see any changes in your blood sugar or insulin levels. That's why scientists are studying these genes as promising early warning signs, or, in scientific terms, epigenetic biomarkers. This software update creates what we call epigenetic memory of weight gain. Your cells actually remember being fat. This explains the frustrating yo-yo effect, why some people regain weight after dieting. Think of it like your fat cells creating a new normal and trying to get back to it. And it isn't just about the number on the scale. Your cells are actually being reprogrammed to adapt to the extra weight, creating a cascade of changes that can create health issues down the road. The exciting news is that these changes aren't permanent. Think back to our computer analogy. Those software instructions are written in pencil, not pen. Just as gaining weight can turn off helpful genes and turn on harmful ones, losing weight can reverse those changes. This means we can write new, healthier instructions. But here's the key. Quick fixes don't work. Your cells need time to reprogram your genes. In our Stanford study, we found something remarkable. When people lose weight and keep it off for at least 6 months, their cells return to a healthier state. The genes that were turned off, the one that help us burn fat and maintain healthy mitochondria, start becoming active again, while the inflammation genes quiet down. This shows us something powerful. Our cells can unlearn their memory of being fat and write new, healthier memories. You are not just losing weight, you are literally reprogramming your body to a healthier state. This brings us to the most important question. How can we make those changes in a way that lasts? This is where something I call the pleasure principle comes in. What if I told you that pleasure isn't the enemy of health? It's actually your compass for finding it and sustaining it for the long run. Our brains seek pleasure for a good reason. Pleasure is an ancient evolutionary mechanism that makes us seek behaviors that help us survive and thrive, like nutritious food, connecting with others, and moving our bodies. When we engage in these behaviors, our brains reward us with feel-good chemicals like dopamine that make us want to repeat those actions again and again. It's not just about momentary pleasure. It's about learning what actions make us survive and thrive. But here's the problem. Modern society has hijacked this natural system. Ultra-processed food is engineered to be hyper-palatable, triggering our pleasure centers in ways natural foods never could. Social media is designed to be more addictive than face-to-face interactions. We have lost touch with our natural pleasure compass and replaced it with what I call Trojan horse pleasures. Artificial pleasures that are designed to feel good in the moment but make us sick in the long run. That's why all around us I see people thinking of pleasure as the opposite of health and jumping from a restrictive protocol to another. They believe they have to choose between enjoying life and being healthy. But this creates a fundamental problem. When we view health as the opposite of pleasure, we create a battle we are bound to lose. We are fighting against our brain's natural reward system. It's like driving with the parking brake on. Long-term health doesn't thrive on restriction. It thrives on joy. The solution isn't to fight against pleasure. It's actually to rediscover what true pleasure really means. Growing up in Italy taught me this powerful lesson. When Italians eat, we don't rush it. We take time to fully engage with our meals. Sitting down, eating slowly, sharing conversations, we activate multiple pleasure pathways that make the meal taste better and easier to digest. The key for lasting change is an environment rich in natural pleasures. Studies show that when we engage in movement we enjoy, exercise becomes sustainable. And when we eat in social settings, our body actually processes the nutrients in the food we eat more efficiently. These aren't just pleasurable experiences. They are biological signals that guide our bodies toward health. That's why pleasure isn't the opposite of health. When properly understood and used, it's your compass for finding it. When you reconnect with authentic pleasures like nutritious food, meaningful connections, and movements you enjoy, sustainable change becomes not just possible, but natural. But to make this work in our modern society, we need a practical framework. Let me share a framework called epi-wellness that I have developed and teach at Stanford University. It's how we turn this new understanding of health and pleasure into daily actions that rewrite your genetic story. Epi-wellness is built on 7 pillars that work together to improve our epigenetic health. The 7 pillars are epi-nutrition, eating foods that nourish our genes, a balanced mix of animal and plant foods, each providing unique epigenetic benefits. Exercise, discovering movement that brings you joy, sleep, social connections, nurturing relationships that energize you, stress management, finding moments of calm in your day, or meditating, cognitive engagement, keeping your mind active and curious, and avoiding environmental toxicants that can harm our epigenome, like, for example, microplastics and pesticides. Here's what makes epi-wellness different than other health plans. We are not aiming for perfection across all these areas at once. That kind of all-or-nothing approach is what makes most health plans fail. We are looking for small, enjoyable changes that you can sustain. The key is understanding that these 7 pillars work in synergy, and so small improvements in each area add up to powerful changes in your epigenetic health. It's like compound interest for your well-being. Here's how to start. Step 1. Identify your weakest pillar, your biggest challenge. For some people, is breaking free from processed food addiction. For some others, is rediscovering the joy of real social connections instead of social media scrolling. Step 2. Commit to a 30-day reset from your biggest challenge. Why 30 days? Research shows that 2 weeks isn't quite enough. During this time, your brain is still adjusting, but by day 30, most people begin to feel notably better and can imagine a future without their old habits. Think of it like giving your pleasure compass time to reset. To make this work, you'll need more than willpower. If processed food addiction is your biggest challenge, try practical steps like keeping trigger foods out of your house and having healthier alternatives ready to go. If you are resetting your social media habits, you might have your phone in another room during meals and schedule coffee dates with friends instead. The first weeks might be challenging. Your brain has been programmed to respond to artificial pleasures, but by day 30, something amazing happens. Your brain starts to recognize and prefer natural pleasures. That sugary snack, it starts to feel too sweet. That social media scroll, it can compare to a real conversation with friends. A note of caution: if you are dealing with severe addictions, please seek professional help. Some changes need medical supervision to be safe and effective. But for most of us, the journey becomes easier because we are working with our pleasure compass, not against it. Every small, enjoyable choice is like picking up the pencil of life and rewriting your genetic story, one pleasurable moment at a time. Remember, you are not just changing your habits, you are giving your genes new instructions for a healthier, more vibrant future. Now that you understand that your genes aren't your destiny and that pleasure is your compass for sustainable change, you might be wondering, what are the specific foods that can help me rewrite my health story? I will explain exactly that in my next video.